But exclamation on Patreon if you're interested in supporting regions like Southeast Asia and Oceania and China, as well as Latin America and North America. Again, we have some region-locked events for these regions that do need the support, and we're doing our part here to try and again support them as best we can as we're getting into our upper bracket. As we're getting into our upper semifinals. And spawning in the top left-hand corner of Babylon, we have the Indian Zerg player representing his brand new team. No longer is he on Alpha X. I should fix that. There we go. No longer is he on Alpha X. He is representing Macherino Esports. It is Demi. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner. What does that mean? We have the Chinese Protoss player representing himself, currently teamless, I believe. It is Proti. Do we have translations? That is the question. Oh, I know this guy. Why was I saying Proti? We know this person. Oh my god, it's great to see them. Wow, okay, not as surprising that they brought down Go-Go Joey. This is Young Zest. It's the young boy. Papi, let's go. Alright, let me quickly set this up. Another one of our lovely players that we are, of course, very akin to, especially when it comes to the Chinese region. There we go. Young Zest, Papi. Young Zest. It's been a while. Is he on Mystery Gaming as well? Let me just double check. I don't believe so. As I quickly check some of these Sunrise Cups, he's a lot more prolific in some of these other tournaments. I believe he is on Starlight Twinkle, if I'm not mistaken. Yep, Starlight Twinkle. Okay, I'll set that up. Beautiful. You love to see it. Okay. Now things are kind of coming together here. So if you don't know who Young Zest is, not to be confused with some of the other players out there like Jollywa Loves or Jdong Oz, for example, Young Zest is an up-and-coming Protoss player from the Chinese region. Just like Blue Ming, just like Takanashi, just like Rewhites and Jollywa Loves, for example. They are kind of in the middle of the pack in the Chinese region. We do see them pop up quite frequently when it comes to the qualifiers for DreamHack China and ESL Masters Asia. But very rarely do I ever see them actually compete in events outside of the regionals, outside of like Sunrise Cup, for example, like these Chinese only events. As you can imagine, we only recently opened this tournament up to the Chinese region, so it's great to see more of them actually exploring and venturing out of their comfort zone, and I'm very excited. I'm very excited for this. So here we go. We have a Stargate opener. Already though, before the first Oracle hits the field, Young Zest is going for a very fast Twilight Council and for additional gateways. This looks like a Glaive Adept follow-up. This has been very trendy, especially amongst some of the other Chinese Protoss players. I want to say Firefly. Firefly has been using this to great effect, especially in WTL. So I wouldn't be surprised if Young Zest is going for that as well. And there it is. There is that Glaives. So this is designed to catch the Zerg player off guard, and it is happening. Demi is reacting with an Evo Chamber. This should be for +1 melee. Demi is going to be delaying and skipping the Roach Warren. Why? Because it's a Stargate opener. So typically from here, the Protoss player should be going into charge or into +1 Blink Stalkers or +1 charge. You know, one or the other. It's going to be delayed. It's going to take a while, and it gives the Zerg player a lot of breathing room to get into Lings and Roaches, and you can delay the Roach Warren. You know, like Demi has no reason to make army right now. Right now is the time for the Zerg player to drone. Little does Demi know that his opponent just threw down a bunch of gateways, is going for glaives, and these glaive adepts are going to go unscattered, and they're going to hit like a truck, And I don't know if there's going to be anything that can stop them. This is designed to blindside the Zerg player. We have a couple of Lings, but Lings are not what you want against Glaive Adepts. It's the Roaches, Papi, and here we go. The Adepts are moving out across the map. The Lings of Demi will scout this, will confirm this, but is it too late, as the Lings are going to be spending a little bit of time here outside in the middle of the map. Demi, he's making more Lings as we speak. He's making more Queens. The Queens are being brought to the front lines. He's panicking right now. He's throwing down a Baneling Nest. Yo, and the Transfuses may be good enough. The Queens do fend off the Adepts for now, but oh my god, enough time has been bought. We have so many Lings available. It was very important that Demi did scout this as it was coming out of the main base, as it was coming out of the natural. Demi was able to respond in time. Ooh, and he was able to make enough Lings here to deter any kind of shade. As I say that, we have a couple of Adepts here at the third base location as well. We see that Young Zest is looking for some more damage. Is still attempting to pull apart Demi. Behind this, we are saturating our third. We're transitioning into Blink as well. It is a late transition, but a transition nonetheless. Meanwhile, we commit to the shade and we get a full surround. These Adepts are going to be going down. Ooh, an unfortunate trade here. An unfortunate shade from Young Zest. Everything will be falling at the same time. We do see an Oracle dipping in towards the main base. But alas, this was supposed to do more damage. This was supposed to cripple the economy of Demi. But if we look at the units lost tab, only 6 drones have gone down. These are acceptable losses. Even the Oracle gets caught out by these Queens. And now Demi is free to tech up. We have a 4th base on the way. We have a Hydra Den on the way as well. Ling Hydra is going to do amazingly against Blink Stalkers. And Blink Stalkers are the follow-up. And these Stalkers, they're not even that amazing because there's no Forge. There's no +1. And from here, I mean, we can see that basically Young Zest has to give up map control. They can't really be too active. It's really risky for him to try to vie for map control right now, but also necessary. You know, like, he can't just be defensive back at home. If he is, then he may as well just give up on the game. You know, he's got to try and assert himself. He needs to trade. He needs to be as efficient as possible. It's just really risky just because of our lack of Blink. But Blink is about to finish up in a couple of seconds, to be fair. It looks like it should finish up in time for any kind of big engagement. So there we go. Revelations are thrown down. Young Zest is going to be able to clean up some of these tumors. Oh my god, Demi getting a Baneling, sorry, getting a Dropper Lord set up here towards the top right-hand corner of the map. It's crazy, Papi. Is getting set up for that drop. We do see the southern army here of Young Zest rotating over towards the fresh 4th base of Demi. Lings are here, the Hydras have arrived again. Ling Hydra is a beautiful army, or it's almost a hard counter to this heavy Blink Stalker style. This can seamlessly transition into Lurker play as well. Just because the Lings deal with the Stalkers and the Hydras can clean up those Oracles. Sage Trap is going to be going off. Demi going to be forced back for the time being. Baneling's going to be waddling on in. And do we have a reaction? Up! Up! Ooh. No reaction. The 9 probes are going to be going down. We have that Baneling dropping set up as well, heading towards that 3rd base. Ooh, this time, though, at least Young Zest is able to catch eyes on this. He's going to be able to pull away in time. It's able to preserve his workers for the time being. 1-1 on the way. We're getting into a Bay. We're going to be getting into Colossi production soon, which would be amazing, but can we survive that long? Because Demi is about to max out. Here we go. The Banelings are being morphed in. The Ling Bane Hydra rushing on forward. And there just isn't much here to defend. At the same time, the Banelings, they do go for their run by, and the entire mineral line goes down. I wasn't looking. Neither was Young Zest. If we aren't looking, it didn't happen, right? It's fine, Bobby. It's fine. The Banelings, they get into a mineral line once again. 41 probes go down. And Demi can back off and rebuild his Lingbane army. Young Zest barely holding on. I mean, to be like, again, the reason why as to why our Protoss player here has been really struggling in the mid game is because of the Glaive Adepts. The Glaive Adepts, because they didn't do any damage, because they didn't do enough damage, it just set him behind. You know, it delayed Blink, it delayed +1. It was it's a move that's, if it isn't able to deal any economic damage, it does set the Protoss player behind. It was a risk that he went for. Did not pay off in the end. And as a result, Demi just has so much map control. Here we go. Once again, going to be rushing on forward. Barely anything here to defend. No shield batteries, no overcharge. GG gets called, and Demi will take game number 1. GG. G, well played. Also, I need some clarification. Oh my god, did it happen again? So this is Young Zest, of course, that we are covering. But if you remember, I was talking earlier about how a lot of the Chinese players actually name changed. If you remember, we did have Blooming name changed to Oriana. We were casting Takanashi earlier, and Takanashi name changed to Moku. We have another. Young Zest used to go by Young Zest, but name changed to something else. Name changed to Potato. I just asked for clarification, and they did confirm their new ID is indeed Potato. Beautiful. Who wants to be Young Zest, Papi? You know, you want to be a potato. You know, you're just so much more sustainable, right? You can be fried, you can be deep fried, you can be sliced up, you can be baked, you can be mashed. You can do anything you want to a potato. Oh, beautiful, amazing. I'm not hungry. I just ate. I'm not hungry yet, but we'll get there. We'll get there. As we're going to be switching regions over to Taiwan. Catching up in the chat. Oh. Hello, No Clone. Hello, Papi. Hello. Welcome. Welcome to the stream. We're going to be hopping on over, and yeah, we'll see how this does end. I don't think game 1 really told us too much, you know. I think we had a very specialized build coming out from Potato, and I don't think we're going to be seeing that again. You know, we have plenty more kind of room to work with, and I'm sure we'll be having a bit of a different opener here in our next game. I'm sure we will. Now that is a name I can get behind. Oh, let's go. No longer Young Zest. We are Potato. It's beautiful. Beautiful. We love to see it. Shaking my head. Shaking my head. I don't know what else to say. Potato and plays Protoss, my hero. Oh. Potatoes. Oh god. Oh no, the puns, Papi, the puns. Oh, not like this. Not like this. Boil 'em, mash 'em. Stick him in a stew. True, true. Potatoes. I mean, you know, who am I to say otherwise, right? Like, I can get behind a potato, solid potato. It's good, good stuff, good stuff. What else do we have? We've got potato, we've got lemon. I'm trying to think of other like fruit and vegetable pro players that we have in the scene. There's got to be more than just potato and lemon, right? There's like zest, which is like kinda, but not really. You know, like the zest of a lime or the zest of a lemon. What else? What else do we have? I'm trying to think. We have a chicken man. Chicken's not fruit or veg. I was just thinking of food. We have spaghetti. Oh god. How is there no one else, right? My brain is like trying to go through as many fruits and vegetables as I can to try and figure things out. Oh, there's someone. Hold on. I was thinking of Tails. Shout out to anyone who remembers Tails, the Korean Protoss player. He had like tomato hair for a while. That's what I was thinking of. If you know, you know. Tomato hair was a thing. I think that was Tails, if I'm not mistaken. I think that was Tails. Yeah. I think that's all we got. Lemon and potato. If anyone else can think of anything, let me know. Let me know. There's no like carrots. There's no zucchini, cucumber, lettuce. What's going on? What's happening? We have Nestea. I guess. Got Oreo, of course. Of course. We got Dongwon, we got tuna. There's gotta be more. I'm going to Wikipedia. Going to the land of the Wikipedia. As fruit dealer, yeah. Fruit dealer. A lot more general. I know an amateur player called Apple Cider. Apparently there was a Korean Terran called Apple. Okay. I guess. Was there a pear? No, there's no pear. Is there a banana? I do see a banana actually. I'm looking into this. I think there was a UK player called Banana. Let's see. Sorry, there was a French Zerg player called Banana. Oh, let's go. I'm reaching though. I'm reaching because this is like an amateur tournament, not a pro player. All right, let's get into this. Let's go, Papi. Let's go. What kind of rabbit hole have I gone into? Don't forget the original fruit dealer. Yep. I see cream puff in the chat. Tomato hair? Yeah. Look, if you know, you know. Ugh. As spawning in the top left-hand corner of Dragon Scales, we have the Indian Zerg player representing his brand new team, Maturino Esports. It is Demi. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, he was once known as the Young Zest, but now he has taken on a new mantra. Long gone are the days of Zest. It's all about, for Starlight Twinkle, it's all about the potato. I see in chat when both life and ladder gives you lemons. Oh, let's go. All right. Going to be continuing on here in this series. Just needed a little bit of a break initially, and of course Demi does have a 1-0 advantage so far. Oh boy. But what does Potato have in store for us next? Because as a reminder, game 1, you know, Potato did go for a Stargate opener into Glaives. It was a hidden build. It was designed to catch Demi off guard. It didn't do enough damage, and it set Potato behind. So the build kind of working against Potato in the end. But now we're getting into our second game, and again, I don't think the first one really showcased too much of the skill of Potato. I do think that he can bring it back in the end. I do think that he has it within him, especially if we go for a different opener, and that's what I expect to be seeing here. Chicken, my favorite food. Yeah. You're not wrong, Papi. You're not wrong. Aye, aye, aye. There's got to be, in modern era of esports, there's got to be a player out there called like creatine and like protein and stuff like that, right? There's got to be. There's got to be some gym boys out there with with those kinds of IDs. Chicken, broccoli, rice. That was kawaii rice. Cute rice. What's the thing? But for the time being, we do have a Stargate opener here from Potato to be expected. I expect this to be a Stargate opener into a Forge and a Twilight Council, a much more standard setup. I would be shocked to see the same build. I would be shocked to see this into a faster Gateway Explosion into a singular Twilight Council without a Forge, which would be a signifier of Glaive Adepts. So we'll keep our eye peeled here on our Chinese Protoss player. Until then, of course, Demi is just droning up. He's taking his third base, saturating his bases, going to be keeping up here with the Adept. Adept is going to be threading a shade in towards the main, but for the most part, we are going to be able to keep up with this. Demi looking to swat away that initial Adept, and yeah, nothing too crazy initially, and from here we're getting into our first Oracle. Should be getting to our second, and it looks like we should be headed towards a third base as well. So yeah, you know, nothing too aggressive here from Potato. Everything looking normal, everything looking standard, and I appreciate that. You know, now we get to see a more straight up game between these two players. Game number 1, it did feel as if it was the case that Potato fell behind early, and as a result was playing catch up basically, and it can be a really difficult thing to pull that off in a game of StarCraft, where it's all about being as efficient as possible, and it can be so punishing as well if you go for something aggressive and it doesn't pay off. As the first Oracle is zooming across the map, there's that third base that we were talking about. There's a second Oracle behind this, and at this point we should be looking towards our tech. So a couple of drones are going to be focused down for some hull damage. Not too bad here from Potato. Gets 2 drones and gets out of there. Meanwhile, there's our second Oracle, and there's our third Oracle behind it. There's that Twilight Council on the way, I imagine, for Blink. And momentarily, we should be seeing a Forge. If we don't see a Forge, this could be for a 7-gate all-in. Off of 3 bases, so you can be very committed if you are confident in your Blink Stalker control. It can be difficult to pull off. We've seen players like Hero and Max Pax and Classic attempt to do this, and well, with success, to be fair. But there it is. There is going to be a Forge, so we are going to be working towards those upgrades. We are going to be working towards a later game. Oh, and we're going to be skipping Blink entirely. We're going to be going for a +1 charge instead. Interesting choice here from our Protoss player. From here, we can get into a Templar Archives. We can get into High Templar for Storm, High Templar for Archons as well. Charge Archon can be a very potent composition, but no, he's going for Hero. Mate, he should call himself Young Hero, not Young Zest, as Potato is not stopping Oracle production. Now this is a very aggressive, very cheeky build from Hero. It is when you amass oracles and you go for a big +1 charge that Oracle all in off of 3 bases. You're not really looking to progress the game any further. The goal here is that the Oracles and Zealots target down all the Queens, and then you just roll over everything else. It can be terrifying as the Oracle count is getting higher and higher. We have 5 Oracles so far. We're working on our 6th, and we're working on a couple more. Did we lose one? Okay. Thankfully, we haven't lost our Oracles yet. I think this is a little bit premature. I'll be honest. We're moving out here, but +1 is still a ways off. I think we're not quite hitting our timing correctly here, but we'll see what we can get done. As +1 is still like a good 20 seconds away. Charge has completed. The Oracles reveal themselves already, and they already take a lot of hits. A couple units trickle on in. Again, this is not the best time to attack here from Potato. The Zealots have revealed themselves. Banelings are on the way. Here we go. The Oracles activate their beams. They're going to try and focus on every single one of these Banelings, and it looks like they will get them. There's one left. The Baneling will connect. The Queen stands strong. +1 finishes up in the middle of this fight. We still have a lot of these Zealots left over, to be fair. But the Banelings are rolling on in. It looks like, I mean, the Zealots are wreaking havoc here in the 3rd base. They're doing some damage, don't get me wrong. But it looks like Demi's defenses are a little bit too good. And once again, I feel like our Protoss player is in a little bit of trouble. We've got our 4th base behind this. We're getting towards our Templar Archives, Robo as well. +2 is on the way. But a lot of this tech is delayed. We'll see if he can find some more damage. Oh, he's going to find a Queen in the main. Going to be able to overwhelm this Spore as well. And finally, drones are going to be going down. These Oracles are just wreaking havoc. Queens were slow to respond, and this may just be enough damage. I'm curious if Demi is going to keep droning, because he's got the Hydra Den. He's going to be going for a big Ling Hydra push, or Ling Bane Hydra push even. But I wonder if he wants to hit this timing, or if he's going to be more defensive with this army, and he's more concerned with saturating his bases and getting into a later game. We shall see, as we do have Potato going for a bit of a Zealot round by here on the right-hand side. Is going to be running into Queens, and these Queens are going to have a hard time dealing with these Zealots. 1, 2, 3 Queens going to be going down. So really good pickles here coming out from Potato. Yo, a good concave on the bottom of this ramp as well. Just trading as efficiently as possible. Behind this, Demi thinking about droning at least a little bit, but more focused with remaxing on Ling Bane. That 4th base is getting up and running. Imagine if that Baneling had showed up a couple of seconds later. But yeah, we are droning. So it looks like Demi's going to be working towards a hive. Should be getting a 5th base soon. At one of these locations. And as the dust settles, if we look at the units lost tab here, it does feel as if Potato has done enough damage. I mean, we're taking up quite nicely. We're on even worker count, which means Potato is ahead. Demi still doesn't have a 5th base, by the way. I'm actually a little bit shocked. We're still only on 4 hatcheries, which is really odd to me. Again, that 5th is so delayed. That's going to be eating into the production of Demi. That's going to be eating into his economy as well, as he attempts to take up towards a Lurker Den. Lurkers can definitely be a win condition here for Demi. He slips into the main. He confirms that we're still committing to ground toss. 5th base is now going to be taken, but this is quite late. Yeah, from here, Demi is finally going to be taking his 5th base. Meanwhile, oh god, this army is looking terrifying. The Lurker Den is done, but the Lurkers are not out yet, and the Colossi are going to be laying siege upon this 5th. Demi, he's never going to be able to establish a 5th base at this point. It is far too late. The army is insane. 2 Colossi, 4 Archons, 5 Archons even, and a mass amount of Zealots. Without Lurkers, I mean, Demi, he can deal with 2 Colossi, but look at all these stasis traps as well. Getting a surround on this army is going to be a tough ask. Meanwhile, 5th base on the way here for our Protoss player. Very rarely do we see a Protoss ahead in bases compared to the Zerg. And Potato is maxed. He is maxed out. He's going to be pushing on forward. At the same time, we do have a Zealot army on the right-hand side. That is going to be distracting the main army of Demi. Oh, that was a lot of Zealots down the drain as we are going for a Skytoss transition. I mean, it makes sense, right? It's like, if you're a Protoss player in this position, you know that you have an economic advantage. You know that you are just suffocating your Zerg opponent, keeping them on 4 bases. And if you know that they're heading towards Lurkers, which is confirmed, by the way, we have seen the Lurker Den researching, then why not go Skytoss? Meanwhile, the Oracles in the main just once again overwhelming. They're going to be focusing down the Lurker Den. Adaptive Talents will not finish. We do see Demi is forced into a counterattack, and he's going to be able to lay siege upon the 5th base of his opponent. These Banelings could even maybe get into a mineral line, as he does force a recall. But the recall will take down these Banelings. Now we have 4 base versus 4 base, but Skytoss is on the horizon. 3 Tempests are being produced at a time. Tempests and Disruptors. Now, we've spoken about this before. It takes a while for Tempests to really snowball. Like, it takes a long time to be built initially, and yeah, Tempests are okay against Zerg, but you do need quite a lot of them, and it takes a while to really kick in. Meanwhile, ooh, Baneling run by 14 probes go down. Demi is fighting back. Demi is still in this. He took down the 5th.
Game paused.
He took down the 5th. He took down a mineral line as well to kind of take stock. At least the hive was kept alive. Vipers are gathering energy. Like, Demi is not too far behind. The biggest issue here for Demi is that he doesn't have a bank because he doesn't have a 5th base. So we're kind of one and done here for Demi. The army that he's building is gonna be the army that he has to work with for quite some time. Meanwhile, Potato is double expanding. Sure, we get another cancel here on the right-hand side, but he's getting another base on the left. Like, he can afford it. It's all good. We have 6 Colossi. My god. That's too many at this point. We can see Potato rotating over towards that triangular 3rd base, just making sure that no expansions are being taken. We have a couple of yoinks coming in. So an Archon will go down. What's important is that Potato hasn't seen the center base. He doesn't know. Doesn't know that Demi is trying to sneak out a 5th. Meanwhile, the Overseer in the main base did spot the Skytoss transition. I mean, with the Tempest reveal themselves as well. But Demi hasn't thrown down a Spire. Ooh, solid yoink there on one of those Colossi. Potato having a hard time controlling his army. He does have a couple of High Templar. He can feed back. Here we go. High Templar moving on forward. There are those feedbacks that we were talking about. But there are still so many Vipers. Oh! Oh, speaking of the High Templar, they do go down. The Prism has fallen. And now we're just going to be committing to the fight. A massive Nova is going to be going off for the Lingbane. But the Lurkers stand strong. Once again, going to be forcing a recall. I do think that the Tempest could have kept pushing. We don't really have that many Hydras here, and we didn't have enough energy for any abducts, so I do think that Potato could have maintained their momentum, but they are forced to back off. They're going to be consolidating their army, and they now have eyes on the new 5th base. Oh god! Novas are going to be going off, and we see a massive connection on the Hydras of Demi. The hatchery will fall. And again, Demi's just being starved out. Like, these Vipers have been doing so well for themselves. But I don't think it matters. Yeah, not at all. We do see the Colossi, the Tempest, just going ham here on the army. They're taking a lot of spines to the face. A lot of lurker shots to the face, but it doesn't even matter. We can power on through. GG gets called, and Potato will take game number 2, tying up the series 1-1. Oh, GG. Oh. Okay, quite an intense game here. Once again, something cheeky coming up from... Oh. Okay. One moment. There we go. Something cheeky coming up from our Zerg player. Sorry, from our Protoss player. Going for that charge lot mass oracle build, but to be fair, it didn't really do that much damage if you recall. It kind of fell on its face a little bit. It traded a little bit better later on, if you remember, where we were able to eventually get some drone kills with the oracles and kill some queens as well with the zealots, but it took a while to really get going. Really, what was important was the fact that Demi was being contained here to a very low amount of bases. He didn't really have the economy to sustain the losses, to sustain the transition into a Spire either. He just couldn't do it. Didn't have the money for it. And with that map control, Potato was able to starve him out and take game 2. GG. GG, well played. Let's go, Poppy. Let's go. And now it all comes down to this final game. It all comes down to game number 3. Here we go. Now the question is, what build is left for the Protoss? You know, game 1, we had Potato go for Stargate into Glaive Adepts. Game 2, he went Stargate into +1 charge Mass Oracle. Game 3, what's left? Because clearly, Potato is not too fond of standard play, or like they know where their strengths lie, and their strengths lie in other out of the norm aggressive builds instead. What are we missing? We're missing maybe a Void Ray based build. We're missing maybe a 2-base. I don't know if we really want to go for a 2-base all-in. I don't think we're fond of Twilight Council openers even. I think what's important about the 2 builds that we've seen is that you can hide them and they can look like standard openers and they can look like standard builds. That's what's scary about them, you know. And that's kind of where the deception comes in, and where an unprepared Zerg player can be taken advantage of. So that's kind of what I'm looking for. Especially on Ancient Cisterns, I don't expect us to be getting into Twilight. I expect a Stargate opener. Is what I'm trying to say. But we'll see. We shall see as we are getting into the ace match, and spawning in the top right-hand corner of Ancient Cistern, we have the Indian Zerg player representing Macherino Esports. It is Demi. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner, we have his opponents. We have the Chinese Protoss player representing Starlight Twinkle. It is Potato, aka Barcode. Alright. It all comes down to this. thing in the chat. We cast World Team League, Team Liquid versus Berserker Esports. We will. We will be casting WTL after this broadcast or after this tournament. It is scheduled to begin in 2 hours. 2 short hours. Oh boy. Here we go. Until such a time, we have you covered with some Grand Platypus Open, with some GPO action, with some lovely platypus. Wow. It's beautiful. I love how the chat's catching up. They're like, we've got Helgi going for Blink, which would be a standard opener, a standard follow-up even. You love to see it. We have Immortal drop, Stargate Blink. Okay, so Stargate Blink would be standard. Maybe we see Stargate Blink without the Forge and we get that 7-gate all-in. Possible. Immortal drop would be wild. I don't think that's... I don't know if that's on the table, I'll be honest. What's my prediction? Skytoss. I'm gonna say Stargate into Void Ray into clearing out the Overlords, and we go into a second Stargate. Double Stargate Void Ray. Old school. Alright, predictions are locked in. Here we go. Who's gonna get it? Initially, we do have that Stargate opener. Again, that's kind of what we all expected, so nothing too crazy yet. But are we gonna get that first Oracle, or are we gonna get a Void Ray? The Stargate is rallied. Oh, rallied to the natural, actually. We do have a Stalker coming out next as well. It was an Adept into Stalker. So this looks like an Oracle first. The Oracle will provide high ground vision, and the Stalker will shoot down this Overlord. Meanwhile, the Adept is across the map, just scouting, just confirming, making sure that everything is normal, and for the time being, everything is. No additional gases have been taken, no fast Lair, no fast Roach War, nothing like that. Potato is feeling pretty safe overall. And Demi is going for a standard hatch gas pull into his third base. Meanwhile, it is that Oracle first. Actually, the Oracle is going to be going across the map. Interesting. Okay. So I believe that Stalker did reveal itself. I believe the Stalker has been spotted. And the Stalker is usually a sign of a Twilight Council opener. That's usually what that is. Meanwhile, the Oracle comes out and is looking for the Overlord. But the Overlord is hidden here over towards the left. Has not been spotted. Okay. So from here, we should be seeing a Twilight Council, and we should be seeing a Forge, but we'll keep our eyes peeled. Ling's going to be threatening that third base. At least they do confirm it, so Demi can feel really comfortable to just drone from this point. The Oracle across the map gets a couple of larvae, but nothing too crazy. Oof. Takes a couple of hits here from the Queens. Whole damage is done. There's that Forge. There's that Twilight Council. And this should be for +1 Blink. Should be. But it could also be +1 Charge. We'll see. We'll see. We'll keep an eye on the lovely Potato. As +1 melee is on the way. So Demi is once again setting up to go into Ling Hydra. Ling Hydra can do very well here against a Blink Stalker heavy player. Meanwhile, the Lings do check across the map. That is a much faster Baneling Nest actually. So I'm curious to see how aggressive Demi is going to be with this. If it's just for safety or if he intends to go for an early Baneling bust even. As there is +1 attack. We have the Robo on the way. And there isn't much else here yet. Unfortunately, there is no upgrade coming out from this Twilight Council, which is a little bit odd. We should be seeing that soon. For the time being, the Oracles are just dipping and dancing in between the bases, just picking up whatever they can. Not really finding too much damage. And there it is. There is that Blink. And we have a Gateway Explosion as well, so this is not going to be that kind of fast Colossi style. This is going to be a more Blink-heavy composition, so there we go. In the Ace match, we have Potato playing more standard. I didn't believe. I'll be honest, I did not believe, but that is what we're getting here out of Potato, which I appreciate, to be honest. Like, we've been seeing a lot of aggression out of him, but here on Ancient Cistern, we're going to be backing off, and there it is. So, we're going to be getting that more tech-heavy variation. So what I mean by that is, the setup here from our Protoss player is very passive. He's going to be stuck at home. We have a 4th base on the way. We have a lot of gateways, yes, but we're going to be intentionally skipping warp-ins, and we're going for a faster 2nd robo and a robotics bay. This is to get into double Colossi production. Ideally, we are mainly defensive, and we're going to be waiting for 4 Colossi to come out before we really move out. Before that happens, we do see our Protoss player being a little bit assertive with these Stalkers, but there aren't many reinforcements. There's no Prism, for example, to sustain this army. And Blink is still a little bit of a ways off as well. So this is a risky maneuver out of Potato. He has to be very careful with how he maneuvers here. And thankfully, there are a couple of Oracles to support this army. I mean, with triple Oracle, we should be fine. Speaking of Colossi, there's Extentoma Lance. First Colossi is on the way. Interesting, we're going to be getting a Prism before the 2nd Colossi. So, yeah, Potato is kind of going for his own twist to this. And obviously going for this Colossi heavy style there, because there's a second one, is quite effective against Lingbane Hydra, which is apparently exactly what Demi is going for. And this should be forcing Demi to go into Lurkers. Again, by the time Demi is assertive on the map, we should be at least on 2 Colossi, maybe even 3 by that point. So it's going to be difficult for Demi to kind of break the Protoss player without higher tech, without something like Vipers or Lurker play. Mainly Vipers, to be fair. We just see these Stalkers overextending a little bit. They are forced to recall back home. I just have been spotted. And we can see things, for the most part, calming down. You know, we see this 4th base should be getting saturated. We are lacking a little bit in worker production, as we see Potato pushing out already. How many Colossi do we have? We're going to be moving out with 2 Colossi. Bold move. We have 2 more on the way. Usually we wait. Usually we wait for all 4 Colossi before we move out, but alas, Potato wants to be more assertive. And what are we pushing into? Potato has a massive supply advantage right now. The Colossi laying siege upon this army. Demi has to evacuate, has to give up on this. And I do think that Demi, as we do have a bit of a bailing drop, oh my god. I do think that Demi just wasn't expecting this to hit this quickly. I think he was also expecting his opponent to wait a little bit longer to give him more time. 7 probes will go down. But Jesus, this army is going to be able to take down the 4th base, and we can keep on pushing from here. There we go, another warp in on the way. And again, a big reason for this as well is because we delayed that 2nd Colossi for the faster Prism. With that, we can be more assertive, we can be more aggressive. We're going to be trying to push up into a concave. Oh, but the force fields are too good. The Bailings will all go down. And with the death of these Bailings, that may just be the death of Demi. Lingbane Hydra doesn't do well against this, not without either Vipers or Lurkers, and we needed more time. As we blink on forward, we're getting on top of the Hydras. GG gets called. And Potato is going to be able to take the 2-1 and move on to the Grand Finals. Wow, GG. GG, very well played. A bit of a different take on that build as well. Again, you know, I'm just talking about what we have kind of seen here and what we've experienced when it comes to this more Colossus heavy composition. But Potato just being a little bit more assertive early on, catching Demi off guard. He was not ready for the push at all. He was still making Vipers. He was still working towards a Lurker transition. Wasn't quite there yet. He wasn't scouting and he wasn't checking to see if the army or when the army was moving out. So GG, very well played here by Potato. He takes the series 2-1 and moves on. GG. And with that, we have our grand finals. A finals that I was not expecting, but I'm happy to see because we have basically potentially a royal voter. This is the very first time that Potato has shown up for this event, and as a result, they're already here in the finals. They could go all the way and become their very first Grand Platypus Open champion. It is quite possible. He's going to be going up against the King of the Sea, though, the best in Southeast Asia.